Welcome to Collecting Chaos. Today we're going to do a little minor repair on a few comics. We're going to start with this Bravados #1. If you remember correctly, it was detached from the spine, from the cover, and all we're going to be doing is gluing it back together. I've done this on a lot of paperback books. This is actually the first time I've done it on a comic, but for this type of comic, the repair should be the same. What I have some Elmer's glue all. Any PVA glue would do. Any actual paste of any kind would do. And I have a cheap throwaway brush. And what I'm going to do is get a little bit of the glue on the brush. Very lightly paint the spine with it. You want a real thin layer. You don't want to glop it on, you don't want it real thick, you want a real thin layer. And it probably doesn't look like I'm putting any at all on. It certainly doesn't look like it to me, but I know I am. If you put too much on, you run the risk of having a wrinkle in the spine, and we do not want that. Speaking of paperback books, if you have a paperback book and you have a page that's coming out of it, you can do this with that one page, put it right along the edge, insert it back into the paperback book where it's supposed to go. Let it sit for 24 hours and you'll be good. That should be enough glue on there. So now I line it up very carefully. Close the cover. Now I'm using my modeling tool for this. And that's probably the wrong tool to use. What I probably should be using is this right here. And all I'm doing is making sure that spine is pressed up against it. So the glue will attach. And that's really all there is to it. Nice, simple little restoration, repair, whatever you want to call it. On this particular comic, because it had come completely off and it was fairly a clean thing, it was an easy thing to do. Trying to do it on one where the spine is where the pages or the cover has actually torn away from the spine is a whole lot different, because you'd have to tape it back with the mending tissue. And we'll be using that in a few minutes. I have two different types. I have mending tape and I have mending tissue. I tend to use the mending tissue most of the time. As you can see, the mending tape is a whole lot thicker. I bought this to use on a poster, an old King Kong poster that I've got, and I have never done it. I really need to do that one day. So, we'll set this off to the side to dry and check it out in a little while. See how it's coming along. And then we'll go to our next one. I need to clean off the desk. Okay, this next one's going to go a little quicker. I'm probably not going to comment on it. I'm just going to do it. What we're going to do is we're going to fix a spine roll. I have a video on how to do this, so all you have to do is watch the video if you're not sure what I'm doing. And I'm just going to get to it and probably not make a whole lot of comments while I'm at it. And that's it. Spine roll is gone. Time to put it into a Mylar. I did decide to go ahead and clean it up a little bit while I was at it. As you can see, I wasn't concerned with getting it spotless. It's still going to carry the same grade. But yeah, it looks a whole lot better, and everything looks awesome in Mylar. So that's 2 down. And let me go get the next one. Okay, this one needs a whole lot of things done to it, aside from reattaching the cover, which is the main thing I plan to do, and removing this staple that has no business being there. Of course, we'll have to remove the staples anyway, but I hate it when I find aftermarket staples put into a comic. We do not help it at all. I'm going to have to take the main one out first, I think. Let me take the cover off to the side while I work on this. Yeah, see, this staple is actually broken. I don't know if I have another one from that year or not. Yeah, I might be able to make it work out. That's trash. Okay, now I've got the staples removed and put into a place where I won't lose them, because that happened before. And I think I'm going to make this, I'm going to iron this flat, I think, so I might have to reset up for something else. But before I do that, let me set this off to the side. Let's take a look at what all this needs. Fortunately, where the staple goes it's all still there. So a little bit of mending tissue will fix that right up. And most of this is still there. So I think a little mending tissue on both ends might go a long way. Yeah, see, There we go. As you can see, I'm using my sculpting tool to put everything back in place the way it should be. As closely as I can. Oh yeah. So that's a weak point there. This is what stress lines turn into eventually. Stress lines go to stress creases, go to tears. It's just the way it is. Okay, let me switch things around again because I'm going to have to do a little ironing. Now, all I want to do on this is make sure everything is lined up properly, as closely as I can get it, so that when I run the iron over it, it'll flatten it all out and things will be in the right place. So it looks to be about right. So I put the piece of parchment paper over it. Flatten it out. Okay. I'm going to take this and set it off to the side, and we're going to flatten out the actual comic now. Wasn't worried about getting it 100% flat. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just need a surface. I just need to be able to work on it without it, trying to fold up on me. All right. Now, for the fun part. My scissors are missing. Let me go track them down. All right. And now I'm not going to cut the comic, but I do need them for this. I need them for the tissue. Because the piece that was exposed is a little bit dirty and I do not want to use that. As you can see, I use very small pieces. I don't try to seal everything up. I just need the strength to hold that staple. Now I am going to put a little bit over here to strengthen this crack. And that will probably be a slightly larger piece than what I've used just a few seconds ago. Mending tape sticks right away. So does the tissue. Now this is the largest piece because this has a lot of damage right here. And I want to make sure I'm completely covered on it. Next, this looks pretty solid. I don't think I need to do anything in there. But I do need to straighten out the staples. And for that, I need my pliers. That's one. And as usual, the staple that was damaged disappeared on me. There it is. I found it. Yeah, this one is, this one looks like it was damaged from the beginning. So we're going to try something. Well, I got a little bit on it. What I'm doing is I'm taking a few of these magic erasers and putting them down first. Get everything lined up just right. And that should allow me to just push the staple right through. and the magic eraser will hold it. How do I always lose the staple? The one that I just repaired. Set it over here on a piece of white paper and it's gone. Oh well. We'll figure it out. Anyway, it's pretty close to the original location of the staple holes, so we'll be all right on that one. It's just a matter of folding the staples over now, which is usually easier to say than it is to do. And you will never get the staples as tight as they were originally. It just doesn't happen. In fact, that's a good way to test to see if you can't quite tell and you think the cover's been reattached and the staples are pretty loose, that's probably why. I went over this in a series of videos. I found the other staple, or a series of videos that I did, so that that's why I'm not going into real details on what I'm doing. This one might be a little more difficult to put in. Nope. Went in pretty easy. Now with this one, I'm going to fold over the short end first. There you go. Cover is back on. Now let me get my... You didn't really think I was going to put it in Mylar with the back cover that's almost black, did you? And bring it up closer so you can see just how dirty it is, if it'll focus. Come on, camera. You are on autofocus. Nope, not going to do it. Trust me, it's pretty dirty. And just like with the other one, I'm not going to try to get all the dirt off. I'm just going to see if I can get some of it off. And this stuff is not going to work. It is not going to take off the dirt. Of course, that dirt's probably been there for 50 years. Well, my camera ran out of memory, and I don't know how much of the final part of this you saw, but hopefully you just saw me trying to clean some of it, and I hope you didn't miss the folding over and stuff like that. But if you did, I'll be doing more. I have another one that needs it, but I'm not going to do it today. As you can see, it's attached, and it's a little tiny bit cleaner, a little bit better. I'm going to call it done, and there you go. In the Mylar it goes. Well, that's it for this week's repair video, except for one thing. We got to go back. We did this one. We did this one. We did 2 Captain Americas. And now we want to take a look and see if that took. And as you can see, the cover is once again attached. And you can't even tell it was ever not attached. And it's nice and flat. So, overall, I think we had a successful successful time on this. So, I will see you on the next video, which is another Hulk. This time we get to do some painting. So, I will see you then. Bye. Turn off, camera.